Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with charlierivermanbergeron. This will be my third attempt at doing this show this morning. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be working. It says I'm live. Somebody has arrived. There are a few people. And hopefully it's not transmission faults or whatever. But it's just been an interesting morning, to say the least. And so today's topic is releasing in stillness, and it's been a journey that I took. I'm still in. Basically, began 2 or 3 days ago, and the stillness within me grew and grew and grew to the point of yesterday, the day before yesterday, and yesterday really being amazingly still, and to the point where before I opened my awareness to as much as I have, I would have become very depressed and very fearful. And so the process of what we're going through is very powerful, and it's really why I'm here to talk today. So good morning, Julia, Wendy, Joni, Jennifer, Carol. Bless you all. It is a wonderful day. And Joelle, well, I've got everything else shut down except for this computer, so I'm pushing the wave, saying whatever's going on around the world to disconnect us from each other, have your way, but don't do it today. So with that said, I'll begin. And so, as I said, many of you are not feeling at your best right now, and it doesn't matter how that plays out for any of us. And I myself, who was given the honor and name of being an earth angel 28 years ago by a woman who made these earth angels. This is I don't know if you can see it. I can get it up there. These are beads that are put on a piece of leather and sewn and glued on a piece of leather. And this is 28 years old. She gave that to me when she met me and told me that she had been waiting for me to appear. And I had no clue what that meant. And she said, I've been making these earth angels, and that's who you are. And so for 27 years now, I've been trying to live that in whatever way I can, knowing that somebody saw something in me that was beyond my ability to recognize at the time, but now I see in so many people. And my journey of having died and returned into this body made it even more powerful for me to honor that with each of you. And so that's how I received the name Riverman. Was she felt my energy and said it was a river. I was the river. I was the water. And so my life has been highly involved around water, and water speaks to me in a lot of ways. I can't say it speaks to me in any form of language, but the messages come through the water. So it's sort of a feeling of oneness with water in all life. And you may see I'm part of a group called Loving Waters, and I advocate for people to come into ceremony with water. And in that process, what we're doing is we are water. We're on a molecular level, 99% water. On a physical level, we're about 70% water. So it all behooves us to honor the water in all of aspects of our lives. And that's what happened for me in this stillness that I'm going to talk about is that the other day, everything just kind of went to a stillness. Everything just stopped. There was just no sense of where was I going? What was I doing? There was just this emptiness, this stillness. And so I went to bed because I was feeling at that point the feelings of depression coming through. And, we've all suffered with depression to some extent in our lives at some point in time. It's not unnatural if you do. But with that said, it doesn't have to necessarily rule our lives. So I went to bed. And I was awakened very early in the morning after a crazy dream of the past and people doing things to me and mistrust and dishonor and all of these things. And I got to get up. So as I awoke, I said, what is this all about? And the message really came through to me that there was a deafening of no sound, nothing. It was empty, void, still. And the message came through that stillness. Slack tide, no wind. I'm going to say that again. Slack tide, no wind. And the slack tide is when I live on a tidal river, and slack tide is that moment between the incoming tide and the exiting tide. And there's a stillness on the river that's unbelievable if you can sit in that space, and everything stops. And while it's not really stopped, there's just no visible movement and no wind. And when that happens, if you physically feel that in life, it's an amazing moment of emptiness, of void. Well, this is what the message was, what I was feeling. And this was from my guides and angels, that you're in the slack tide with no wind. So great. That's a great message. Thanks. Now what do I do? So if many of you have felt that place of no direction, feeling trapped, no lack of visible support, or a sense of purposelessness, hopelessness, or emptiness, I want you to realize that those are moments in our lives that are really an opportunity for transformation on levels we may not become consciously aware of until after they've passed. So I advise you to just sit still through those and to speak with your guides, speak with your angels, know that you're not alone, and know that no matter what you're going through, there's somebody else in the world that's going through this too, and sometimes more deeply harmful to them, because they're not able to, they're turning that into something of a self-worth issue. And it has nothing to do with your self-worth. It just is a space that's opening for you to release. And that's hence the name of the talk this morning. The first word that came to me was releasing, and then in the stillness, and it's been flowing since. So the river flows. I won't go deeper into the depressing aspects of this, because nobody needs to hear that. We all have a story. But what's needed right now is, if you are experiencing sort of those slack tides, and they can recur, doesn't mean there's a time frame or time limit. What they are based on is what we're able to assimilate for new energy and move through in the process of releasing old pain, old suffering. Many of you speak of losing loved ones, of losing your homes, not having enough of things in your family, and these are important things that stick with us, and they create a field of a lack of self-worth and a lack of I'm not being helped. There's nobody here to help me. There's nobody here to love me. And that's falsity. That's not real. You are always loved. You are always helped. It's just that sometimes we can't see through that dark veil. So again, being presented with this slack tide is it's an opportunity to allow everything to arise from within us and then to dissipate into that open field or vacuum of stillness that we're in. And that's what it feels like. You feel like you're in a vacuum. Not a vacuum cleaner, but a vacuum. There's no movement, there's no stillness, there's no life, there's just emptiness. And that can be very unsettling for most of us. But I want you to, if you feel that, to just know that within you, the being that's witnessing that, you are witnessing that from a higher place within yourself. So we are witnessing what our third dimensional physicality and mentality is working. But in that moment, we are that higher divine self. And that is the key to moving through it. So, hollow, yes, the hollow feeling. Listen to music when you're depressed. Yes, these are, again, we all experience this. There's nobody that escapes this. And the key is to really, again, just know that it's not going to last forever. And there is a way through. And when you encounter other people in your families or your friends, be there for them. Be the pillar of light for them, to stand with them and to guard and to uphold the energy for them, to move through that and encourage them to take that deep breath and say, you're okay. You are okay. This too will pass. I've said it 1,000 times. I got online this morning, and I actually slept late this morning, and so I was hectic. And I said, no, don't be hectic, Charlie. It's all going to work out. So the first thing I read was in my email was from Natalie Glasson, and I can't remember what her page is, but it hit me really loud and clear. And the message was about not judging, but observing from a place of no fear. And her quote that I write here today is, the love of the Creator is required to create freedom mentally, emotionally, and physically. Freedom in the expression of the Creator, in alignment with the Creator for all souls on earth. This means a freedom to follow your intuition, to create from your inner well of love, to be a presence of love in all it may manifest upon the earth. And that was a powerful statement to me. And I'm going to post that down here. If I can, paste. Okay, there we go. We got that going. And it went on to express in some other quotes, just parts of quotes that I clipped from that, was, inhale deeply and release all that hinders and blocks them from within their beings, and all the controls and limits from outside the bodies. The time to do this is now. And that was basically a sort of a message to us to inhale, to take that moment to release, an opportunity to release, and know that we're safe in some greater, the arms of some greater being or beingness that we can't see, feel, smell, or touch. it's not that you will leave, the quote, it's not that you will leave the earth, it is that you will be more fully present on the earth as love creating transformation. And so this is, again, what it's about is transformation. We are in a period of amazing transformation to the point, almost to the point of transmutation, if you will. For some of us, it may feel like we're in a state of transmutation. So, once again, take a deep breath and know that as these amazing beings that we are, however you look at us, look at yourself, whatever philosophy or psychology or religion that you practice or admire or follow and trust, know that they're all in their core essence designed to bring about this transformation within all of us that says we are far more than we could ever possibly think we are by doing. And this is the stillness. The stillness is the not doing. It's that moment of silence. It's that moment of the space between the in-breath and the exhale. These are all metaphors that have been spoken throughout history about that place. So when it happens, don't go into alarm, but please try to find the space and time to acknowledge it and embrace it. My next card is this beautiful card. I love this, love these cards. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? These are two galaxies, okay, in the same picture. And, you know, it can be any two of us, really. These bodies are like galaxies if you really think about what goes on inside them. And the message of this is, I am protected. I'll say it again. I am protected. So the first place we go when we go in the stillness is into that place of fear and aloneness and vulnerability. Okay. So the space meditation card says, I am protected. And the quote that goes with that is, the angel of light protects and guides me along my worldly path. I am never alone. Again, loneliness. How many suffer from loneliness? We can be in the middle of 1,000 people and still feel lonely. It's brought this, for some reason, the past week has brought up my entire life as a loner. Why have I always in my life chosen to that path? And realizing that I don't know. I just don't know. And yet I can't mourn it anymore. There's no room for me to mourn the fact that that's what I chose or why I chose it. It's not important anymore. The important thing for me is to recognize is that it doesn't matter. I'm still okay. I don't have to be like everybody else. I don't always have to be the center of attention. Talking on this show is a big step for me, showing who I am to the world. This is not who I was as a child. This is not who I was as a young adult in my past life. So this is all, again, an expression of what we can do when we start to let go of the self-judgments we have. As I allowed myself to be present in this place of stillness that I experienced, the void, the silence. The world around me kept demanding, go here, do this, call this person, respond to this, do that, blah, 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 all of the daily chores. And I've somehow found that I could respond to all of them with grace. That I was not so deeply invested in my own suffering that I made myself more important than who I am with others in the world. And that's a key part of not being alone. Alone is when we think that we don't relate or can't react to anybody. But in that moment of stillness, even then we can still give to others from our hearts. The second message card I pulled, looking at the time, is from my friend Mia Leventhal, who creates these soul inspirations message cards by Kalia. And the message is, get into the love vibe. Let all else slide. Beautiful picture that she placed with those words was water. Once again, random cards. I pull messages from my guides, maybe messages from your guides, because they want you to hear this. I don't know. I don't know how they work. It's not my job. And it's love. It's love that pulls us through the stillness. That's the message. And that's the message that I got when I received that and saw that. It is love. So even though I was in that still place, no wind, no sound, no waves, no motion of any kind whatsoever, forward, backward, up, down, it was just perfect stillness, very discomforting stillness. Yeah, in a lot of ways for our human physicality. We're not used to that. As you can see, I talk with my hands, I'm not moving around. We are beings that love motion. So when we're in that stillness, it can be very strange and very disconcerting. But it's in those moments of stillness that we have the greatest opportunity to deepen within ourselves and release anger, pain, suffering that no longer serves us. It's not to be brought forward into what we term the new earth. There's no room for it there. It can't go there. It's not like we choose. It's just not going to go. It doesn't fit. You can't put all of that in that new world that we're co-creating together by opening our hearts, by working and sharing grace and ease and compassion. So yes, it is love that pulls us through the stillness and the places of no energy. We truly are more awake and more aware of who we truly are. And in wrapping this up, I got onto Facebook this morning after my email reading, and the first post was from a lovely person that I've been following for years. I used to follow videos, just how I started with humanity healing, called Light Omega. And it's from the Light Omega community, a village of Light Ashram. And it's quotes, it's a conversation with Julie, our guru, Jima, who is the founder of that. And the quote is, seeking the peace within. To flow through time as a drop of rain flows down a window pane. Thus does one enter the river of sacred reality. Hold on to nothing. Let everything flow through you and in you. This is the practice of letting go. Call upon it and it shall be. And that's from a book, I believe, the Day 10 Calendar of 100 Days, Seeds of Light for Daily Meditation. I'm going to post that as well over here. Just, if you have any desire. Just an amazing, some amazing information. Okay. I guess I didn't, because the other thing didn't post. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm going to paste this and post that. Okay, both of those posted. And I get to see my peeps over here. How you doing? All right, so surrender by love, the beings of light that are always with us. Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, it's really important to focus on embracing the new rather than the struggling of trying to figure it out, of who, what, when, where, why, and how. And it's in that stillness that we can rise, because there's nothing else. It's at the emptiness. And in that emptiness, we are the only energy. And so it isolates us from all of that. And we are the only, if we keep it going in our heads, then we get to recognize in those still moments, we've been doing that all our lives. And what does it get us to go through all that struggling to figure out and fix our problems? Because the real truth is about releasing those exact desires in which it all occurs. It's regaining stillness in our lives and being able to be still in the midst of everything going on around us, so that we can observe better and we can make better choices that align with our hearts and our higher selves, rather than being trapped in this wind, in these tidal currents, and not being able to get ourselves free or release ourselves. So again, releasing in the stillness. This is where it occurs. Find the stillness. Find a place of stillness, even if that great stillness that I experienced doesn't happen to you. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened. It's not death. It's not you're not. It's not depression. It's just a void. It's just a gift that you're being given, in which you can really see the truth of who you are, and perhaps make some forward motions. Last card I pulled frightened me at first. I'm not one who likes to talk about death, and yet that was the card. This is the card, and the card, you can see it, is the word death. And yet we as humans think of death in a very negative way. And that's the first thing that hit me. Oh my goodness. But the quote at the bottom, that's all I'm going to read, is the quote. This comes from Affirmations. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful deck. Affirmations for the Everyday Goddess. The message at the bottom of the card says, I surrender my ego and no longer let fear rule my life. I have love, faith, and hope. And so, as we move away from this talk this morning, let's bring in more love, more faith, and increase our hope, so that when these moments of stillness grab us and hold us, look at them as an opportunity, not as something destructive. They're an opportunity for us to deepen within ourselves and bring forth that light that's there, hidden under all of our expressions, under all of our escapades in life, and bring that light through and push away, push out all of that negative energy, all of that suffering, all of those bad memories, if you will. Not trying to do it consciously, but just by allowing that energy to rise and seizing the opportunity. That's my little chat for this morning. One that I'm going to read again, and I will post it when a couple of days, maybe it'll be on my blog. It takes me a couple of days to allow it to sync and put it out on my blog, but my link to my blog is up there in the top note, my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I do copy it and put it out there, and I also post this on my Facebook page. So thank you all for showing up this morning. Thank you all for being here in my world. You're part of my family. And when I, said the aloneness of childhood, I don't have that now, because I speak to you and I speak to the world, and we are all one family of amazing beings on a tiny planet in a large, large, large emptiness. Love you. Love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. Till next week, many blessings. May the waters rise and carry you deeper into yourself, and know that in that deepness of self, there is this amazing, beautiful pearl. You are that pearl. Have a great week. We'll see you somewhere in the social media, if not in person. I love you all. Bye-bye.